Class that over beer.
You ready? Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I figure I might as well go through that not whole food.
Just make sure they get
Be a
done.
witness to
I
the.
would.
Make sure they get done. Schedule.
Where's the fairground one? At the courthouse.
It's at
Community
the-
center. Oh, it's community center. And then the other one.
We're recording? Okay, at this time, we will call school district number 1 to order. We'll start with pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We get a recognition of our visitors.
I have Amanda Boer, Shelley Burton, Bob Schock, Tony Chu, Maggie Hunter, Sarah Foster, Rick Chrisman, and Leanne Conley.
Public comment. This is a time for anything that is not on the agenda. And public comment.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got one.
Okay,
Where, do I just stand up? Is that good?
yep.
All right, so the Deer Lodge Art Club will not be doing the Francis Denton Art Show this year. So we wanted to make sure you guys knew that, and we know that we have some pegboards in storage somewhere here, and we're looking for an alternative space for storage. So as soon as we figure that out, we'll let you know. That is on behalf of the Deer Lodge Art Club, but now I'm going to talk to you about public health. So I am the tobacco education specialist for the 3 counties, and I have hired Michael DeLeon, a speaker, and he's from a company called Steered Straight. He is $7,500 a day. And so Granite County Medical Center pitched in $4,000, and the Granite County DUI Task Force pitched in $1,750, and I covered the last $1,750 out of the tobacco prevention budget. He can speak 3 times in one day. This came at the request of the Granite County DUI Task Force because they're struggling with some alcohol and youth issues over in Granite County. But because I was chipping in, he also has agreed to talk about vaping and marijuana use. So I have 1 free spot. He can do 3 presentations in a day, and Drummond is 1 school and Phillipsburg is the other school. And because my budget kicked in and I cover tri-counties, I would like him to speak at our school. And so if you guys are not interested in having him, I'll offer him to Anaconda. But he is scheduled for Tuesday, March 25th, and he would have to be first thing in the morning. I prefer the junior high students, and if the high school students want to participate, they can come down. His message is going to have more of an impact on that audience, and plus they're 6th through 8th grade. They're less likely to already be vaping, but they're going to see it. So that is the reason why I got involved. When they put me in charge of getting a speaker, I always make sure the speaker is going to talk about what's most important to me too. Other than that, he does offer a curriculum when he speaks. That's why it's so expensive. The school will have access to his curriculum for years after he speaks here. That is evidence-based and accurate. And then he also has materials for every single student on 5 different topics. So the 3 I already mentioned and 2 more, which I can't remember, opioids and maybe fentanyl. So anyways, that's just for you guys. I need someone to email me back as soon as possible if that Wednesday, or is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday morning, will work for you guys.
Can we just visit about that? Just I'll make it after the Full Fest Anaconda. I know Bob's from there. We'll pick him when we're in Anaconda.
We don't do any drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, just
We'll give
I'll
him an
email
audience,
a
all right?
message
So what's you gonna get on?
okay. Thank you.
Other public comment?
Me too. Here, here's the copy, Mike.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak regarding the upcoming community gathering for the proposed bond. As one of 2,788 residents of the elementary school district who will receive a bond ballot, I plan to attend and I appreciate the chance to offer input. From the perspective of a voter and taxpayer, however, the public is being asked to respond to a situation we did not create and over which we have had limited visibility until now. Public input should inform the board's judgment, not substitute for it. Asking the community what it wants has value, but the more important question is what you, as trustees, believe is required. That responsibility rests with you. Your decisions will be shaped by how you weigh competing priorities, including adequate education and continuity of learning, health, safety, and code compliance, total long-term cost of ownership, not just initial construction costs, fiscal stewardship and taxpayer impact over time, feasibility and risk in an uncertain construction environment. Before the bond amount is announced at the end of this month, I respectfully ask that the board clearly state which of these criteria will carry the greatest weight and which will not, so the public understands the framework guiding your decision. Over the past several months of attending school board meetings, I've gained respect for the nuance and complexity of the decisions you face as trustees. I appreciate your effort and commitment to our children's education, and I thank you for your service.
Any other public comment?
I have a public comment that was emailed, but I will read it. From Cassie Smith. Dear school board members and school administration, I have been a warden in many capacities for over 21 years and have had the privilege of being a part of and are promoting positive changes throughout that time. There was a situation not too long ago that was messy, hurtful, and taught us a meaningful lesson. This incident was a catalyst for a group of students to advocate for a drug-free policy and enforcement to be made the first priority. Staff needed training, students needed education, and those that chose to illegally use drugs needed consequences. My child, like many, was just trying to have a fun, safe high school experience, and we expected that the school would ensure that. It was a long process, but ultimately a drug testing policy was adopted, and for several years, student athletes and club members were held to a higher expectation and a safe, positive environment that we could all be proud of. The drug testing procedure has ceased recently for a variety of reasons, but it clearly needs to be reinstated. Ask any high school student to tell you 5 kids that were at school high, and I bet they can tell you. Marijuana is now more readily available, easier to use, and legal for adults. It is still illegal for children, and our school needs to take that fact very seriously, even when society and families may not. I implore you to bring back the drug testing policy and hold our students to the expectation and boundaries that they deserve so that all students can be safe and healthy. Many thanks.
Any other public comment?
I concur.
Correspondence? Correspondence? None? Approval of the December 9th meeting minutes.
I know to approve the December 9th meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the December 9th meeting minutes. Is there any discussion, additions, or corrections? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have no old business. We'll move into new business. We would be adding a volunteer / chaperone.
Samantha ready for a wrestling program with your female chaperone.
Has she got through the background process?
She has she was our school nurse. We would have to run it again if that's at your request. Generally, if they're a recent employee, we don't run another one. But if you're requesting us to again.
I just know it's required for volunteers, but I do remember her being a school nurse, so I
Yeah.
don't have to be redone.
So that's up to you.
How long ago was she?
She's been gone for 6 years, 7 years. It hasn't been that long.
2 years. 2 years.
Not 2 years.
No, more than that.
Yeah.
More than 2, but not more than 5.
I was thinking 4. Yeah. 4 or 5. Yeah, I think it's 4 or 5. Yeah, I think it's 4.
She wasn't here during COVID.
What is it? Yeah, we have to send it to the state. It costs us money.
She's the county health official.
Yeah.
We need a motion.
We need a
Waive doing that,
Yeah, but we need a motion.
or and to waive the.
You're not hiring her.
We're approving her to be.
Approving it, but we need a motion to include waiving
Yeah, if you, that's what you so choose to do.
the. I so choose to do
Is there a second?
that. I'll second it.
It's been moved to approve Samantha Ray as a volunteer chaperone waiving the background because she was on the staff. Is there any discussion? Discussion, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next would be 8th grade participation in golf.
I'll turn it over to boss.
Eighth grade participation go.
But we talked about this last year. And I just wanted to, before the meeting started, before golf started, I want to know if we want to include 8th graders participating in the high school. George brought it to the board last year. And one of the things you guys did mention that we would look at it. And before we, if you want me to pursue a policy or create a policy, we can do that before before the golf season starts.
Because we would have to amend policy 3510, 3A. So it says specifically that high school students, grade planters will participate in high school sport.
We may have a motion before we have a discussion. I think we have some discussion that needs to happen.
I'll move that we approve the 8th grade participation vote.
It's been moved and seconded.
So I just want to kind of clarify some of the things that we did discuss last year of the reason why we would do 8th grade golf and not the other sports. And one of them was is we don't have any community for it. We also don't have them participate in it. There is no junior high golf program. There's track, there's this, there's that. There's basketball, there's football, but there any wrestling. At some aspect, but there is no golf. So, some of the concerns is once we start that, then is the next one. Bob, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think it should just be golf. If we're gonna make this policy, I think it should be just a golf. Because the next one's gonna be that, basketball, girls basketball. Can't do football. Football's out of the question. There's no doubt. They can't play football. 8th graders can play any other sport.
Kind of do cross country, we have a separate team, but they travel.
Yeah.
Right.
Is there a team aspect, having enough individuals for like a golf team to score? Is that part of it too?
I don't think that ever came up. That was never the concern. It was just allowing 8th graders to compete. I don't think there was ever a concern about. I mean, and we're looking at changing some of that at the actually is how we're going to start. Well, that's more cross country too, but looking at how we're going to score golf and track down the road, because I think we can take 5 and we place 4 at like track across country meets, and then I think the same thing with golf, because we can golf 5 kids, but we can place 4. So there's just some talk about what we want to do down the road. And then we're also getting into what these kids have to also, they have to shoot a certain score to go to state. They have to run a certain time to make it to state. So even though they do come up, that doesn't guarantee that they're going to get we can qualify as a team or we can qualify as individuals too. And that's where it gets a little bit confusing. If we qualify as a team, it doesn't matter what their score is. But that's also looking at each team as well. So that's some things that they're changing.
George wanted it just so we can start building the golf program up. Or
Because there is no outlet for golf.
city rec,
Right.
they go out and play it for themselves on golf course.
We have a couple people that do a little camp in summer, you know.
I do know there's short on girls, they can't have a team on the girls side of it.
Our job to keep the program. It's the parents' decision whether they want their 8th graders to be with high school. It's our job to make sure these programs, like when high school was on the chopping block last year. And it's our job, if we need numbers, we keep the program going. It's up to the parents if they want their 8th grader to be on the high school bus.
And not to throw a wrench in this, but I talked to Tina of Atlantic, and she approached me at the Drummond game, and she was asking if we could possibly co-op with the Drummond boys and girls could co-op with us. And there would be there's really nothing to it. All we have to do is have Mr. Gustafson talk to MHSA and say we're gonna co-op with boys and girls golf. And that's all it would take. So they have 3 or 4 girls that want to golf. And they don't know if they want to create a golf program over there. So I said, well, why don't we just co-op with us? And then they can come over here and golf. And then most of the times we go that way anyway. So we could pick them up and take them with us, when we go to our golf meets. So that might be something that I'll be bringing to you maybe in the future date. I'm going to talk to Dean over there from Drummond and see where they're at with where they want to do with their golf program. So that's where we'll get a few more kids, but that won't affect 8th graders coming in. At least those 8th graders can build their skills with George and get better that way. But
Do we have a potential number?
I have no idea. I just wanted to see where you wanted to go with this before golf started. If you want me to get a policy written, something similar like Anaconda or Loyola has.
I think George said, 4 or 5 8th graders last year that wanted to go.
Yeah. I don't know how many, a lot of those 8th graders they do track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get a bunch.
Mm-hmm. And we might get some girls out of it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Sport. Do you let her go?
You can. In high school. We get about 30 kids for track. So in middle school, I was talking to Kirk, and that's what I said, what was our numbers last year? He said about 30 kids in track. So I don't know how many of those would take away from track if we do this or not. So, so if you want me to, I can look at a couple, bring to the board next month, a couple, and we can give them to you before the meeting. You can look at a couple proposals for 8th graders participating, but just understand this is going to open the door. Okay, it's going to open the door for, and right now, I really hate to see it have our boys basketball team in the junior high is doing very, very well right now. And I really hate, there's some really good 8th graders, 7th graders, particularly 7th graders coming in. I didn't think that they would jump up to the high school, plenty of time for them to.
Well, and you can't, our goal is not to gut the lower programs.
No, I
As far
understand.
as opportunity, I think that's where we have to be very.
But I can see the girls basketball coach wanting to. Because we don't have we only have, I'll be honest with you, for the first time, we're only gonna have one 8th grade girls basketball team in junior high. One team. We don't even have for 2 teams in the middle school. Yes.
Can it be part of the policy that we're offering it because there's no other opportunity in that sport? Maybe there is, but we're not going to do it.
Yeah, that would be a great way to sort of make sure it just stays at one, is golf.
And it is co-ed, so we don't have to.
Worry about Title IX, we don't have to worry about it, middle school with Title IX, do we? No,
I just want to make sure we're not violating the law on that one.
Well, we would deny a boy or a girl to play. yeah, I don't think we would tell any boy, boy or girl to play. We just tend to get more boys out for golf than we do girls.
They're worth asking the eighth graders, something to be interested in.
Hard.
Just to see if there's.
Yeah.
So we know if there's one.
And, yeah,
I really think regardless, we should come up with some sort of policy about bringing, because it's happened, I mean, at least 3 times since I've been here, that we've had requests.
In that policy, should there be something about that the coach's discretion if he doesn't think sure enough or skilled enough to play with high school kids, he doesn't have to take them just because they want to.
Well, I know like Butte High, when Presley was there, if you were an eighth grade wanting to play them, you couldn't actually make varsity. You couldn't come up to freshman or sophomore, you had to be good at varsity. You did stay in eighth grade. So that's what some of the other schools do.
Even in other sports, that's how.
I would hate to have that, and I hate to put that on a coach and say, I want you and you, but I don't want you and you. I think that would be a terrible precedent that we set, if we start saying, I want you as an eighth grader, I want you as an eighth grader, but I don't want you to eighth graders.
And I don't want to see basketball or anything like that. Golf, I can see.
Yeah.
Basketball, I want to keep up middle school, other work. Middle school.
I go back to the girl last year that didn't want to choose. My heart was up to her, like she was afraid she'd lose her basketball. I think that's where I think I would be worried if you lost a high school program due to numbers. I would make it a numbers thing, not a, like you said, not a coach saying you're not good enough, but if you need numbers.
Right. Well, and it is a measurable sport. You know what I mean? That is one, I mean, I'm terrible at it.
How many eighth graders are gonna make it to state? These, and especially in Montana where we have spring golf. These kids, if we were in fall golf, like the A's do and the double A's, they do their golf in the fall where they've golfed all summer and their scores are much lower. But, it's cold and it's softball weather and golf weather in Montana, it's cold. And so to get our scores, we only have about 4 weeks of good weather before we can get, our scores can come down. So for our kids, that's also a factor that we got to look at. So, they're only going to get better by playing all summer. And my son played from April to September, October every year for 4 years, and they were second in state 3 of their 4 years in high school. But that's what they had to do. And that's all they did is they were golf course. And for our kids to get good at golf, that's what they have to do. So anyway, but we'll have, do we have one of those kids that can play like that? Yeah, we probably got a few that, but we have some of those little younger kids that are playing a lot of golf now, so that's good. So I'll put together a couple policies. We'll have Mr. Guston I'll give them to Tara, and she can get them to you guys, and you guys can look at a couple different proposals of how we want to do it. But I think that I do like the idea of just making it available to sports that we don't have at the elementary or the middle school.
So what about softball? I'm just using that as an example. That's a high school sport that we have that we don't offer at the.
I'd be very, very concerned if I was an eighth grade girl to be having to get up to bat at a girl that's going to be throwing that ball awful fast at me. I think, if we had a feeder program a little bit more, I would be awful nervous because, some of these kids around, we go up against Florence, and those girls can throw that ball pretty hard, and I think that would be very intimidating. My daughter won't play softball to this day because of that. She was in junior high, and they brought down a couple of the high school pitchers, and they pitched at my daughter. My daughter said, I don't want to play anymore. We got to be careful.
Also an individual.
But I'm talking softball. But
Right.
when you're throwing that ball at somebody and coming in pretty hard, it made a difference. So that's your call. If you guys want to do softball, that's up to you.
No, I'm just using,
Yeah.
Bob, I'm just using it as an example of another thing that we don't offer at a junior high level, but it is at a high school level.
Do we have Little League for softball?
We actually do have it. They just can never field a team.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's available.
It is a bit, okay. They had a pretty big team last year. I'm sorry.
No.
No, you're
I
fine.
think it's went up to 11 years old.
They What's that?
Isn't it up to 11 for softball?
No, they can do 12 to 14. Yeah.
Okay, so it is available. Yeah.
So the motion on the table is to approve eighth grade participation in golf.
A proposal and policy.
You want me to just maybe start investigating a little bit and then get some information to you guys as far as how we wanna, how the wording of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we really need it by next month.
Yeah.
Because when you get into March, you've got to have signups
Yeah.
and start.
Yeah.
You're rolling. So-
And maybe we could get Shelley to get a little interest inventory out there, the eighth graders who would wanna come up.
Well, I rescind my motion.
So can I ask this question? Would that include homeschool eighth graders? I don't see why not, right? They're an eighth grade
You
homeschool.
have to.
You have to.
Yeah, I'm just saying it so that's available. So we're just gonna say eighth graders, period, okay? Yeah. Okay, we're just even on that homeschoolers. No, I understand. That's what I wanna make sure, yeah. Perfect.
So it's been moved to second at the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Would you guys have a big concern, just, and I, this is kind of off topic, if we did co-op with Drummond, would that be a problem? And I know it's a different topic right now.
It's not on our,
Okay.
it's not on our
Okay.
agenda. So.
Okay, can I talk about the pub, no, public comment.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, principals report. Oh, yeah, I crossed it off and then moved on. Amend the coach advisor handbook. I guess in that job description there. And a concern that, it's been past practice of the prior high school board that the AD did not have any coaching positions, but that had not been reported anywhere. So,
To do both jobs.
And also if you have an issue or two, right? That was kind of the concern as well.
We struggled twice with this, so.
So we've learned our lesson.
Yeah.
Quick learners.
Well, here's my only question about this, is we do, number one, it's a position of coach. Do we need to dictate head coach, assistant coach, head or assistant coach there? And are we concerned about advisors?
As coaches, advisors, and all athletic directors.
But it's a, for example, the position of coach. It doesn't say advisor.
That's good.
And advisors, that technically should not be there. Because the advisor is part of the handbook, it's for other clubs, yeah, or classes, yeah.
but is the cheerleading coach an advisor or a coach?
I believe we have her listed as a coach.
I think it is.
Let me, it's okay.
I think it is in their union contract.
It's in the contract, so let me look at it real quick.
I believe she listed in the last page of the CPA.
Yes, but let me see what the title is. It's a head coach.
Would that say any coaching positions? But it's coach.
Well, it's JV coach, it's required for my, give my first coaching positions. That's a JV coach. If you got, no. That's no.
If you're just saying coach, that's broad enough to where it covers every coaching position. I don't know why you would need to.
Does it need to include anything else other than the word coach? Or is that covered?
Pretty well, I believe so.
Pretty well covers everything.
So do we not have any advisors that report to the athletic director?
No, it's just coaches. So I could even take that
Advisors out.
advisors out.
There's a couple of spots in there, but
AD doesn't, they're not over there.
No, and that's in the handbook. It's the principal. It says it other places.
I motion to amend the coach. 80 job description, that by taking advisors out of all of it, you know. Adding that the athletic director is not allowed to hold the position of coach at the same time as being AD.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next is a principal's report.
Well, yeah, we've been back for a week and 2 days. So, yeah, we hit the ground running. Everybody's getting situated again after Christmas break. We have Spear Parent Teacher Conferences next week, Wednesday, Thursday. We will run those after school from 3 to 6 on those 2 days. And then, the next thing that we have going on February 5th, we will start the planning for 100th day, the 100th day of school. So those are the two things that we've got going on in the grade school. And Q and you get married earlier.
The 13th.
The February 13th? Yeah. So the fun of the Q and U.
at junior high, we are also off to a good start. We have few days coming up for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Our first one is this Thursday for 7th grade. So Mrs. Crowe with the student council is kind of getting all of that running and off ground. And so we're looking forward to some good stories and some epic calls. And test window 2 opens this week also. So yay, we're part 2 for the weekend.
After a long break.
After a long weekend, yeah. I mean, it's always good to either right after the time changes or right after one break.
Any questions? Okay. Mr. Gus.
As you know, this Thursday here at the CPC gym, Brad Dahl from A&E Architects will be here to present. I'll give a brief introduction, explain what we've been doing, what we've been investigating, and I've been meeting with different groups of people to get input, to try to pare down some targets for the community to consider on what should be done, what needs to be done, and identify if we're looking at needs or wants. You know, some of us members of the committee, we just dialed in on what we thought we needs. But then as we've listened to a lot of community members telling us that our conservative looked at what our needs was and didn't really our needs. So that's why there's a few different models that Brad Dahl will present on Thursday for community consideration input, especially. Should be the most important night for input from community about what we want to do and what is important. And then by the end of the month, meeting on and on.
When is
Thursday, this Thursday, 7 p.m. So 1 hour after. As you can feel, even though we have we're breaking temperatures outside with heat, but you still notice that this building's pretty warm in January, and that really is largely responsible for Chris. Chris is here daily, checking on these boilers, making adjustments. Janelle has been helpful in that regard too. But over Christmas, I mean, again, these boilers are 50 years old, and that's all they're supposed to last. And but those are just one of the issues, of course. You all know the issues, probably most of the heat pipes and air exchangers. But over Christmas, there was an exhaust I don't want to call it a fan. But that's basically what it does. It exhausts expended fuel, so that way we don't get a backdraft or a bomb, right? So, that failed on the one that we call Lazarus. And, Chris went rooting around and it was a used part. That part new was $1,100. And of course, these are old things to try to find anything difficult. So he serviced that part, got that thing running again, and it's been running daily since right after Christmas, a couple days after Christmas. And then we're doing the math on how much that would have cost to have we had done the company that we've done a lot of business with. It would have been at least $3,000 fixed, it would not have. So Chris is making a lot of things happen, and I don't mind bragging on that because he does so much in our facilities. I mean, small class B school, 5 buildings plus 1 to try to maintain and keep running. It is a remarkable job, and I know we lost somebody last year in March. So, anyways, kudos to everything he's doing to keep this building running. Missoula Glass will be here at the end of this month or early February. Stake out a week to fix the atrium. So that's on target. And as you know, I mean, we talk about it every month. The same, the declining enrollment is continuing to be an emphasis here for us. We're not the only school in the state, but we have a lot of declining enrollment, and so that is that causes me a lot. But calendar committee, it'll be really easy. We just make calendars and here you go. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I've never done that. Although I don't have some of my superintendent buddies do. But we put together a calendar committee that involves secretaries, principals, counselors, and a representative from each teacher, representative from each building. So we'll start meeting this Friday, and we might have a document for you as early as February, but we will certainly have a document for your consideration in March. Okay. And again, lastly, please, I hope the board will comment first. If you can pencil that in, it would be good for all of you here. And some of the people that have come, smaller groups to give input, I've asked them, please come, because you listen to what they said. Like I said, my mental construct for what we needed was, we want to have this building, not just for a pool, but we want to have a building for our PE classes, which are all the elementary here, and all of our middle school sports, indoor sports. Then we need to fix the building. And that was my vision anyway. And then also, if we're going to maintain a cafeteria, then in that building that is become more educated, it's a building that's not very salvageable. I think it's just a cafeteria, then multi-purpose room, very simply. But then as we listen to these other people, they say we need a multi-purpose room that actually serves the community, the community's interests. So those again will be presented on Thursday night for community consideration.
Any questions? Okay. Business manager.
Okay, so Mr. Gustafson discussed enrollment again from the front of your book. I went through and broke it down for you guys. You can see every month since the first day of school. And since last spring count, what the numbers are. As you can see, since August, we've had a steady decline every single month. 2%, 4%, 1%, 2%, 1% decline each month. We are now currently, as of yesterday, under 500 students, K through 12, like 499. We potentially have 3 more students we're going to lose this week. So it's not steady and stable. It's just continuing the downward trend. Since last spring count day, last February, we're down 91 students. And since the first day of school, we're down 51 students. On the next page, I show you how that calculates out into our A and B numbers. For this year's budget, our A and B numbers, we were able to use 335 for K6 96 for 7 and 8, and 188 for high school. Luckily, we'll still be able to use our 3-year average this next year, but we're still gonna be down 20 A and B for K6, 3 A and B for 7th and 8th, and 9 A and B for the high school. Now, K through 8, A and B is roughly 6,500 per A and B, and the high school is roughly $8,500 per A and B. So that comes out to K through 8 down close to 150,000, and the high school down almost 77,000. And because we're using a 3-year average, that means we're gonna be going down every year.
What does that average look like? How much every year? I mean, if we stayed static where we're at now, what are we looking at next year and the following?
That, I'm not gonna throw numbers at you. I'd have to go through and figure out. I mean, yeah, if we have a steady decline that doesn't stabilize.
But if we, I guess what I'm saying is if we stabilized,
If we stabilize, I can run those numbers and tell you.
yeah,
Where are they going? Are their families moving? Are they homeschooling? Do you know?
So when I ran the numbers a couple months ago, it was actually pretty split even between homeschool and moving to a different district, either in state or out of state. So it's about 50-50%. This last month, it was more heavy towards homeschool. Most of the kids were off. Historically, this last year, it's pretty even.
So when you say moving, you're not saying transferring schools, you're saying their parents moved out of the district. Or are you saying they transferred from our school to a different school?
Well, that I can't tell you that for sure unless I looked at every single one. They're going to a different district, whether they actually move their residence or not.
Okay, that's fine.
We should have seen a form if they were staying here. Yeah, I would venture to guess that they're actually,
Any idea how many homeschoolers we have now?
I don't, that'd be a question for Carrie. They have to register there. As far as our financials go, Bob asked a question about the county. You notice on your tax bills, the due date was later this year, it was December 4th. So we have, you'll see back in here when you look at the numbers, we have received some tax money, but not everything. I mean, not everyone pays before the due date, so. Once I get December's, we should see most of it. And then as far as the transportation and retirement, that's when she does the payment after she's received all of her tax money, so. Most likely she's giving it to us in December, but I won't know that for sure until she sends me a trial balance for December, so. Probably won't see that until late this month. And then I can double check numbers and make sure we got what we're supposed to. And March 1st is when I get preliminary budget sheets from OPI. So we'll know what our actual budget numbers are for next year.
seeing anything of concern at this point that we need to be aware of, that we will catch it.
No. No, it's sitting pretty good right now. We had, as you heard last month, a teacher leave who we're not replacing, so that helps with any unexpected expenses because her rest of her salary is already budgeted in. At the high school, we have one of the retirements that was rescinded, so that extra retirement incentive that was budgeted in is not getting paid out now, so we have that little bit of cushion too. So I don't foresee any problems this year.
Eric, maybe touch base on this while John apologizes. When are they gonna start work on the atrium in the high school?
And this month, very
Very good, thank you.
Questions for Kara?
Grade level you're seeing those drop. The parents mad about elementary, high school, junior.
I mean, kindergarten, obviously, we didn't have as many kindergartners come in as last year. But other than that, pretty much just across the board.
The eighth grade last year to when they become freshmen this year, it's the last 8. That's kind of our one. It's just right there in that junior high to high school. range, so, and maybe that's all that's towards. I mean, and then they can play sports and.
Right.
But we're just gonna do that. Sports and be, but be in season.
I would say locally, a lot of parents are weighing on where they want their kids to play sports. Because now they're in college, etc. And so it's not a big successful program here, and they'll take them and do where they're successful.
I almost feel like we're all in open portal.
Exactly.
And I think sports is dictating.
What did you mean by that?
It's just the board.
Almost. So as far as that's concerned, I think it's great. It's great.
So is the spring count here, was in like first grade last year at the end of the year, or was that anticipated what was gonna be? So did those numbers move down to like first or the second for the year?
Yep.
So those were actual numbers, so that 43 is now second grade.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I put my little arrow.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, okay.
All right, claims committee.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the claims. Is there any discussion? Discussion.
It was good because they had 2 weeks off, so we're.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. This time we will go in closed session for the superintendent's evaluation. get it wrong every time, so I'm not even gonna attempt. Public's right to know. We'll bring this meeting back to order.
I move to offer Eric Gustafson, sorry, it's getting late, a one-year extension on his contract.
I'll second that.
Removed and seconded to offer a one-year extension to Eric Gustafson superintendent contract. Is there any discussion? Discussion, seeing none, we'll all proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Future agenda items?
I'd like to discuss how AI can be handled. That's some input.
I think that's
It's a
a,
hot topic.
I think
It's a hot topic that we need to know. It's a moving target.
I think we probably ought to add the policy, what did I say it was, 3510 to it regarding,
Eighth grade golf.
well, and I wonder if we're gonna have to, that's the part where we're going to amend it regarding co-oping.
So that'd be up by next month.
I don't think it needs to be on the agenda, but I was gonna touch base with you, saying we'd like to have a policy meeting. Yeah, I was hoping next week, but I've got to be gone for work, but end of the month. And so I was gonna see if there was an afternoon evening that would work for us together. Policy committee, over, finish that up and present anything that we have to the board for February meeting.
I'm gone from Saturday until. That's it, correct?
All right, well, we might just
You
have
just
to,
have to do it without.
okay,
You can send me some stuff if you want.
Yeah.
Either email it to me or.
we can do that.
See that if we don't get through.
Well, we need to discuss Thursday. Through the agenda prep.
I mean, well, I guess we'll know Thursday what our directive from the community is.
Do we have to put any special notice out if we're all going to be there? I thought that.
It's good, it's a,
What about the racetrack meeting that we decided on the day when you want?
Yeah. Brad's gonna put together a thumb drive for me.
Okay,
So like, as long as you have a computer or something there, sometime we can check or we'll have to put them around a laptop and see whatever, but.
okay. I'll get the neighborhood called. And we'll set up,
We have a projector. Go to a laptop.
We have one here, I think.
That we can take out there.
I think
Fire hall,
so.
is that what-
yeah.
Yeah.
And so if we know a little bit, I'll get the fire hall set aside and I'll get everybody called.
An FYI for all of you, I did talk to Ms. Crowfoot the other day and she will be bringing it to your attention, but the high school is currently using the suspended drug policy to have parents sign off on that, which that can't be done because of the suspended policy. So that's not working currently. And then the handbook she was going to have to edit and have amended because the drug testing part in the handbook references a district policy that doesn't even exist. So she said as soon as she gets back, she will get working on getting together and working with you guys to fix all of that.
That Pia has supported.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I told Katie too. She doesn't need to use the district policy on that consent form. She could use something else that's written up, but using a suspended policy doesn't work, so.
anything else? We adjourn.
We need to sign all this.
Yeah.
We can sign it and you can finish it.